I pulled out the Hive chapter 17. Okay, the two simply said a few polite words, and Wang Cheng left. After Wang Cheng left, James leaned over to Chen Feng and said, "Sir, someone is watching us." Hearing this, Chen Feng frowned. He didn't feel that anyone was watching. The mine is surrounded by weeds. James said in a condensed voice, "In the southeast, there are 2 people in total." Chen Feng looked to the southeast, where there was a weed. He didn't see anyone. Chen Feng thought for a moment and said, "You go and get them and ask, if you can't take them, shoot them directly." Hearing Chen Feng's words, James immediately rushed towards the location of the weeds. James can become the mercenary captain of the umbrella company. Physical fitness is already comparable to special forces. When James rushed to the weeds, sure enough, 2 people stood up from the weeds. When the 2 saw James rushing, they were ready to start. Then after James came to the 2, he directly took out his silver desert eagle. Seeing the muzzle of the black hole, both of them were stunned. Guns are rare in Shanghai City. Because it's basically regulated, they never expected James to still have a gun in his hand. One of them was clearly somewhat unconvinced that the gun in James' hand was real. He pulled out a dagger from his body. Just prepare to do it to James. And then just as he took out the dagger, the gunfire of the Sand Eagle sounded instantly. The guy with this dagger was instantly pierced by a bullet in his thigh. A large hole appeared in his thigh. Ah! The screams followed, and the guy who was shot lay directly on the ground holding his thighs and howling. When the other person saw this scene, he immediately raised his hands. The other party has a real gun. It made him unbelievable, because according to the data of the investigation, Chen Feng was just a junior student at a martial arts university. How can people around still have guns? Chen Feng came over at this time, and when he saw a pool of blood on the ground, he did not have any change in expression. As a man in 2 lifetimes, his heart has long surpassed that of ordinary people. Even with this bloody picture, he would not feel any discomfort. "Who are you?" Chen Feng looked at the guy who raised his hands and asked. The person who raised his hands heard Chen Feng's words, and he quickly said, "We are from the Yongsheng Boxing Stadium, and it was our boss who asked us to follow you." Hearing the Yongsheng Boxing Stadium, Chen Feng's brows furrowed. He was careful enough, but he was still being targeted. Seeing that Chen Feng did not speak, the guy who raised his hands said again, "I advise you to release us quickly. Even if you have a gun, you can't stop the 3rd-level martial artists in our boxing arena." The guy with his hands raised was afraid of the Desert Eagle in James's hands. But he wasn't too afraid, because behind him stood the Yongsheng Boxing Stadium. In the 5th district, it is also a relatively large force. There are even several 3rd-level martial artists. Chen Feng did not pay attention to this person's words at all, but said to James, "Dispose of them." After speaking, Chen Feng left. Hearing Chen Feng's words, the guy with his hands immediately showed disbelief in his eyes. He didn't expect that Chen Feng actually wanted to kill them, and completely disregarding their bosses. It's like a college student. But before he could think more, James had already shot again. The gunfire of the Desert Eagle rang out in the mines. Chen Feng did not look back, but walked to the side of the road alone. He fell into deep thought. According to his guess, the owner of this Yongsheng Boxing Stadium should be very curious about white zombies, so he sent someone to inquire about the news. Even if he did not hesitate to follow him, I am afraid that his foundation has been investigated by the other party. The world was even more dangerous than he thought. Showing a little bit of something can be coveted by others. The reason why he killed these 2 people was also a warning to the owner of Yongsheng Boxing Stadium. Let the other party not dare to easily send someone to find him trouble. For killing, Chen Feng did not feel anything. After gaining the ability to reach into the movie, Chen Feng's heart had changed. The world is cruel. Only the strong are respected. James returned to Chen Feng's side at this time. "Sir has already done it." Chen Feng nodded, and then said, "You go to the Yongsheng Stadium and keep an eye on me. If there is any change, tell me as soon as possible." "Yes, sir." James soon left alone. Chen Feng then took a taxi and returned to the rented community. Countdown 21 hours 12 minutes and 27 seconds. Chen Feng was taking a class at the martial arts university. The next time I put my hand in the movie is less than a day away. In the past few days, he has been attending classes every day, and after class, he will go to the mine to check the progress of the transformation. Wang Cheng is still very powerful. The workers invited and the construction equipment are very complete. It can probably be completely remodeled today. Chapter 17. The transformation is complete. Human resource overflow. And in the past few days, there has been no movement on the side of the Yongsheng Boxing Stadium. After those 2 stalkers were taken out, it seems that the other party has never sent anyone over again. James has been monitoring this over there. Chapter 1 Previous Chapter 17 308 Next Chapter End Table of Contents. Previous, the beginning of the American comic